Scary premonition stories. A premonition is when you see or feel something is going to happen before it happens. It was November 2006 and I just laid down to take a nap when I faced one of the scariest premonitions I ever had. I was in a dark hospital, the windows were shattering around me, there was a tornado touching down, people were running and screaming, glass busting, and just chaos. This scared me because I was due to have surgery the next day at the hospital I was dreaming about. I was supposed to be at that hospital at 6 a.m. and be admitted by 7 to have a tubal ligation. I tell my ex, I just had a night terror from hell, I got a really bad feeling about this, I don't know that I'm going to go to the hospital, but he was like, baby, we got to. The reason I had to go through with it was because this was the only time the insurance would cover it. The caseworker had told me if I don't show up, Medicaid will not cover this surgery again. There will not be another opportunity, so I better go. So that morning at 5:30, me and my ex get up and get dressed, and a big thunderstorm comes up, and I mean the thunder is booming, it's shaking the whole house, and I start panicking. I said, dude, that damn night terror has got me on the edge. I know something bad is going to happen today. I can feel it. Well, by 6:30, these storms had gotten a lot worse, and now we had tornado watches, but we were now at the hospital. So we're sitting in the waiting room waiting on my name to be called, and I look out the window and see the wind has really picked up again, and walk outside and everything has turned green. I said, oh shit, we know that's not good. That's a sign of a tornado. Grandma used to say, when the sky turns green, it's about to get mean. You better take cover. So the hospital had the weather channel on in the waiting room, and the meteorologist said this is the last storm of the day. When it's over, it's going to clear up and be a gorgeous day. But boy, was he wrong. So I go talk to a nurse and say, look, I don't think I'm going to go through with this. I'm just going to cancel out and do it another day. I'm scared of these storms. She said, honey, the doctor's already here. He's prepping. We got to do this. I said, well, if the power goes out? She said, we got generators, and like they said, it's the last storm of the day. Everything's going to be fine. So the nurse gives me a gown, I change, and I sit on the bed, and then she starts trying to put the IV in, but she can't get it. So she tries over and over and hits it. Blood starts spraying out everywhere. I don't know what she did wrong, but as more blood came out, I ended up passing out. I wake up covered in blood. There's blood all over the floor of the bed, everywhere, and someone had closed the IV, but I don't know who because they left me alone in that room. Next thing I know, I hear boom. Boom! It sounded like the power boxes out there on the power lines were blowing up. I'm stuck in this room, can't find the door with the IV and the big metal rod thing it's connected to, dragging it behind me, trying to find the damn door, and I finally found it and got it open. And just like in my dream, I'm now walking down the hospital hallway in the pitch black dark. I can hear people running and screaming, the wind blowing, papers flying up in the air, the windows breaking. Just like my dream, but a lot worse, and it was all I could think about. My dream, it came true. Then this woman comes out of her room and says, Lily Pad, come here. And I thought, how does she know my name? I dragged that IV into that room, and when I got in there, she was gone. I think that was my grandmother trying to protect me. She had passed the year before, and only a select few knew me as Lily Pad from my youth. And then I heard it. The fucking train coming. Everybody knows when a tornado's close by, it sounds just like a damn train. It's so loud. It started shaking the whole damn hospital. In that moment, my life started flashing before my eyes, and it wasn't like how everybody else says. This was just one moment from when I was 10 years old. I could see it clear as day. I was at home alone because my mom and dad had went somewhere, and we had a really bad thunderstorm. Tornado came through it and tore apart the backyard and the swamp. I was a small child sitting in the dark, my hands on my head, rocking back and forth, scared to death, just like I was as an adult in the hospital. And I kept thinking, what a full circle moment. It started this way and it'll end this way. This F3 tornado gets that close to the hospital and barely skims past it, just like it did our house when I was a kid. Within seconds of that tornado trailing off, the power came back on, so I snatched the IV out and I took off running. So I find my partner, and him and babies are okay. And then things start to calm down within the hour, and the nurses and doctors start putting everything back together. So they put me on a stretcher to move me from this room to the surgery room. As we're walking by the ambulance section, this ambulance pulls up, and people, EMTs, start jumping out, and they tell the nurses who are pushing my bed to come help them. It was a man and his 2 kids. The tornado hit their trailer earlier that morning while they were getting ready for work and school before it hit our area, and they were just now getting to the hospital. So we're stopped there, and all these nurses and doctors are working on this other child. The one had already died, but they were still performing life-saving measures on this one, and unfortunately, they couldn't revive that one either. They pulled those 2 little kids as stretchers right up beside of me. They didn't have their faces covered or nothing. Like, I just looked at them like, oh my God, these poor babies. They were cut up bad. I just started crying because just 2 little babies, 6, 7 years old, up that morning getting ready for school, probably eating cereal, playing with their toys, and then they're gone. And this poor woman, I don't know who she was, but she was bawling her eyes out. I guess it was her family. She was just all to hell, of course. At that moment, I did not want to go through with this surgery. I felt like the tornado, everything was just an omen. It was telling me, do not get this surgery. Like, my anxiety was peaking. Like, I was scared to death. Something's going to happen. There's going to be another tornado. Power's going to go out. They're going to kill me. Something's going to happen. This wasn't an anxiety attack. This was a full-blown, looking, let me out of here. I'm leaving attack. I don't want to do this. Nurses all had to come grab me, pull me down, hold me down and be like, it's okay, take a breath, calm down. We're going to give you something to calm you down. But they went ahead and gave me the medicine and knocked me out. And when I woke up, the surgery was over with. So afterwards, I wake up to a nurse saying, hey, breathe, wake up, breathe. When I turn my head to the right and I open my eyes, the big letters are blurry, but I can see them. It says more. As soon as I saw that word, I fucking freaked out. She said, what are you doing down here? I don't know. You tell me. I just woke up. I couldn't hardly talk at this point. She said, I think somebody got confused and they brought you down here to the morgue instead of to recovery. I said, how does that even happen? Somebody had literally pushed me on a stretcher with the IV rod, the bag and everything, down to the morgue and left me outside the doors. Crazy. While she's asking me all these questions, this man comes out of the morgue and he opens the 2 doors and I can see the 2 little kids laying on the table. So that same nurse grabbed the stretcher and started pushing me back to the recovery room. And when we walked in, she said, hey, I found one of your patients. She was down there at the morgue. She said, who the hell took her down there? And the other nurse said, I don't know, but with everything going on, there's no telling. So because this was an outpatient surgery, I was allowed to leave not long after the surgery was done. So I get to the car and I tell my ex, please just take me home. I can't take no more mentally. That tornado was an F3. It killed 4 people and injured many others, and it was devastating. That was one hell of a day, and I wish I would have just listened to my gut and stayed the hell home. I'd been a lot safer and less traumatized had I listened. These premonitions or woman's intuition has happened to me all throughout my life, and every time I've ignored that gut feeling, something bad has happened to me. So always listen to your gut.